prepare anything because I was, yeah. So, yeah. At IYC, the first day we got in Texas, we ate Mexican. We didn't even sleep. We slept like how many hours? And then after that, we all just like walked around for a while. And I was just looking at everyone there. There were so many youth in the lobby. It was so crazy. You can't see where you're walking because everyone's just like in one area. But then the first day of the registration day, we went to register and there wasn't a line, but there were like people sitting on the ground waiting to register themselves, and we all looked at our name tags, and mine said Brianna Lynn Mono. And I was just like, wow, Mono, okay. And then we changed it, and we all bought t-shirts. I bought 3. I bought this one, a gray one, and a black one. And we're all wearing the pink one today, so yeah. The first day of IYC was crazy. It was awesome. The worship was led by Starfield, and they are an amazing band. Wow. It's just the way they sing, the way they worship God, the way they play guitar it's amazing. You just can feel God within them. And that day, like, I was just thinking to myself, wow, I'm actually here in Texas for a youth conference, and I don't even know what to do. Before I left, I was like, okay, God, I want God to work in my life. I want God to change me. I want God to do all of this. But it's not only God, it's also me telling myself that this is what I need to do to have God work in me. And so, the first big conference, like the first night of worship, the band was Charlie Hall. It's this bald guy with the long beard. But he sang, what song was that? There was a song he sang, and it was just, I was just like so touched by it. And the speaker was cool too. But there's one speaker that really, really, really affected me. Her name is Becky Tarabassi. Her sermon was just, wow. She talked about how as a youth, as a teenager, as a young adult, she did so much horrible things in her life, and I just thought to myself about all the sins that I've done, and she goes, if there are any guys in here, and that, the sermons are very, very detailed. They're very open about everything, and she goes, are there any guys in here who look at porn, who have premarital sex, who do drugs, who go partying and get drunk? Stand. You should have seen, there are so many guys who stood up. It was almost the entire youth. But then again, I looked and I was like, there's also guys in here who are lying to themselves, who are lying to God. And then she said, if there are any women in here who do the same thing, who even just done it once, please stand. And I thought to myself, and I was like, if I lie, then I'm lying to God. I stood, and when I stood, I cried. And I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I couldn't hold back anymore. And from that day on, she just really touched me, and like, I promised myself I wouldn't miss an appointment with God. Every night there's an appointment with God. I don't know when it is, only God knows that. God knows when my appointment is. And so I changed my life. I changed the way I live. I changed the words I used. I changed everything. I don't want to look back at what I've done before, because everything's just gonna fall apart again. So now what I do is every night before I go to bed, I pray. That's my appointment. God knows my appointment, and I don't miss it. Ever since that day, I have not missed an appointment with God at all, prayer, but it's like a spoken diary. I don't say, Lord, I say, hey God, how you doing? What's going on with you? Well, here's what's going on with me, and I tell him everything. And so it's just amazing how God just really changed me. And I don't know if my grandma or my mom noticed. Apparently they don't, because I still get mad at my brother and sister, but it's okay. And the conference I went to, it was the theme was love, and it's DTR, define the relationship. It's not the relationship with God, but the relationship with the significant other. Me and Elisa attended that one, and it's a couple that they didn't really have feelings for each other in the beginning, but as they grew, they noticed that they shared the same faith, they shared the same qualities, the same everything. And there's in 2 Peter, it tells you what the characteristics that God wants you to have in your significant other. And as we were reading that, I was just like, okay, these are the things that I need in a guy. And so it was really crazy. We made our own lists of what we think we need in a guy, and like none of that was even close to what's in the Bible. The guys were so funny. They're like, oh, they have to be sexy. I was like, oh my gosh, you boys are so... They're like, she has to be a good kisser. They were screaming out everything. It was funny. And then the second one we went to was Hurting from the Inside Out. And me and Elisa, like, we didn't walk out, but there was like this one part where like we had to get into groups, and we're just like, we're not emo. We like, there's like, they're like, if you cut yourself, if you like wear black all the time, if you it was weird. And me and Lisa are like, this is not for us. Everyone in there was just like, oh, we're hurting, I was like, okay, everyone hurts. Yes, we know that, but it was just like, okay, we don't need to be here, I don't think. And so they're like, if you don't feel comfortable in here, you can leave. So me and Lisa are like, okay, bye. And we